And I think that's a mistake. I think you have to look at what Jim defined as competitive equality, and that's why we looked at all that history and looked at everything. And I think when you look at particularly the top 6 teams since 1993, we split those 6 teams up. And then you go to the next tier, you split them. And so I feel if you can't ever predict the future, but you have to use the data in front of you, and that's history. And I feel like we were able to balance the competitiveness between our 2 divisions, and we disregarded geography to a great extent. That's, in my view, that's where the Big 12 made its mistake. That's when the South became so powerful. And so we didn't fall in that trap. And I think had we gone East and West, we could have fallen into that trap and hurt some of the great traditions and rivalries that we felt we had more flexibility with because we didn't fall into the geographical trap. We said in the room, at least most of us, that we'll be gone as ADs when you mess with these divisions. Now, most of us, there's a couple of young puppies in the room, but we made a commitment to these divisions. And I do not think that you, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 6 years from now, you tweak them. I mean, we had a lot of tough discussions about this and got a lot of buy-in, and you got to give the divisions time to work. Schedules are different things. Divisions, you got to give them time to work. And so, and we have our TV partners who are buying into them. And so there's a partnership we got to respect there, and they're making their long-term forecast based upon those games. So I think we need to give it time to work, and I think I'll be gone, by the time they get to tweaking them. I don't know. That's a great question for Jim. So great question for you to get on the phone with Jim. No, we did not talk about. We never talked about money. We never talked about TV.
No, we never talked about money.
We never talked about money because we already got our money. See, that's what I don't understand. Everybody's talking about, we already got our money. So our contracts, we got our money. The only new entity is the championship game. And so that's going to be whoever it is. We can't affect that unless we try to set it up so we determine who the winners were. But the championship game is going to be a championship game. That's new money. Nebraska coming in is going to be a new valuation. So we never said we got to set these games up because we make more money. Doesn't matter. We got our money. So I know people won't believe me, but I just thought I'd share it. Oh, no, I still do it. I'm sorry, Doug. I would still schedule those majors you're talking about? Yeah, I would do it. That's not going away. I just have to, I'd probably have to end up flipping some of them. And so,
the ones that are already there.
Yeah,
You would not,
no, I wouldn't change that at all. Wouldn't change it at all. I would change my philosophy already. I already bring it in Colorado next year. You guys not paying attention? Oh, huge, huge. I can go back to my normal emails. That was just huge. No, it was this morning, our conference call started at 11. I think we were down like 10, 12, 15. That was the sigh of release. And particularly when I saw the 2011 pop up first on the webinar, and I went straight to us, and boom. And then, saw 12 pop up. I obviously went straight to the end. I was like, jacked. And then I started to study the rest of the games, and I became enamored with 11, and the fact that we have such a nice non-conference home schedule in 11, and then how we fall with our conference schedule, that was smooth. And then you go to 12, and we end up with 8 home games in 12, and you look at how that flows. I felt good about that too, because Cal Berkeley comes in here in 12. So we have Cincinnati in 12. Last year's Big East champion, wasn't it? Just checking. Never had to do that. Dave, Brandon, and I had conversations about the feedback we were getting, called the conference office, shared our wishes, never got there. I had my list ready today in case, I had to convince colleagues this was why it was important to us. Never even got there. Never got there, which was great. That speaks to the collegiality and respect that we have for one another. Yeah, you know what, we did discuss last week Monday, you know, how could we get to the show and have divisional names? And, you know, and Jim was right. We would have been rushing it. He had hired a firm to come up to do the branding, the conference logo, divisional names, the trophy for the championship game. And he was right. You know, for ADs to sit in the room try and do that would have been stupid. So you let the experts do it. But yeah, we did talk about. Some people made suggestions in the room, and it was funny. I'm not bringing them up. I'm not going there. They were bad. No, I did not have any. Others did. I'm not one of those creative guys. I mean, I call those people. I don't. That's the worst. Yes, there are. Come on, man. No, I'm not. But yes, there are. I have my private thoughts on what I'd like to see down the road. And keep in mind, expansion may not happen. But if it does, I have my thoughts and wishes on that. And when those opportunities, if they present themselves, I'll certainly share them with my colleagues, and we'll go through that process. But, you know, expansion may not happen, guys. I mean, we've watched what happened out west. You know, things are starting to settle. If you really pay attention to the TV contracts and what's happening here and there. But as I say that, you know, some other conference could do something on the East, and next thing you know, we got to respond. So. Oh, that's not true. Yeah, I think, and I apologize. I assumed it was all in the release. Is it all in the release? Because I didn't see it. Yes, all 8 games count. So your 5 in your division and the 3 crossovers, they all count. So that you gotta win them all. So. Yeah, we discussed that. Yeah, we discussed that. That was I never had any confusion on that. You got to win all of those games in order to be the divisional champion.